Workers' Day. Let's celebrate. Ah.
Well, glad to be a worker and glad that we are there serving you. And that's what we all do here, giving you the very best that we have within us. And then seeking for more to still dish out to you. And that's what Workers' Day signifies.
All right, happy Workers' Day to all workers there. In fact, I don't know, we have essential and non-essential workers.
Yeah,
I don't know which one to, but all workers, in short, I'm wishing you happy celebration today, and I hope you will be at Dr. Alex Ekweme's Square much later today to join other workers to celebrate their day. It's a great day, but we pray that workers get better remuneration maybe after this celebration.
Apart from even getting better remuneration, better work environment too, and better respect from the society.
All right, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Anambra show. Today's episode being the first day of May. We forgot to say Happy New Month.
Well, Happy New Month. Happy New Month to us all.
All right, it's the first day of May 2025, and we are so delighted to be counted amongst the living. My name is Nonye Nwokoye.
And I'm Ajuluchuku Okabwe. Good morning.
Welcome to the show. All right.
Well, good morning. Like we always do here, as the tradition here, we'll bring you what we have this morning. The first thing is the newspaper review, and then we'll be starting with the news making rounds on ABS website, and none other than the very first thing that we talked about here today being International Workers' Day, international global celebration for every worker. Every family has a worker. It's as simple as that. There is no family that doesn't have a worker. So we all work, we all bring the bacon home and then build the society from there. That's the first story we have for you on ABS website. Southeast traditional rulers tour Anambra State government project commend Soludo's achievement in governance. We also have International Workers' Day. Anambra Assembly Speaker Udeze felicitates with workers. Anambra State government seals factory allegedly producing counterfeit disinfectant in Obosi. Tricycle riders laud Anambra Assembly stand against illegal revenue collection with state support for Soludo. Soludo inaugurates Manari Osunwa Primary Health Center, Oka. Nigeria Police Force reactivates issuance of tinted glass permit. And then the last but not the least, South African police investigate death of 3 officers. That's all we have for you on the ABS website.
All right, we cannot stop talking about Workers' Day because it's our day. And of course, I've seen people wish workers well. And somebody actually, I can't place who said that, but he said, here's to fair opportunities, equal respect, and better working conditions for every worker around the world. And we are praying that, just like it was when we were much younger, when workers are highly respected, and of course, when they come out, you know that these are workers because of the way they live their lives, the things they do.
Role models.
Yes, yes. And you hardly hear that a worker is, associated with crime or criminality or even a EFCC for chasing a worker. But I think at this point there is need to look into that to see where we missed it. Because I knew that once you get to a level of a director, back then, you have an official car to yourself, you have accommodation provided by government, you have a cook, you have a gardener. Once you get to the level of director in a civil service. But all those things now, I don't know why they stopped in the first place. Let me not say what I don't know.
I guess maybe when the the guests that we'll have this morning in the discussion segment. When they finally come, we'll definitely ask those questions and many more. Quickly, let's get to begin the day with the tabloids. Talking about the Daily Sun tabloid.
All right, on Daily Sun, we have State of Nation. Anyoko raises the alarm. Country risks a disintegration, he warns. NFIU warns of surge in Ponzi unregulated crowdfunding scams. May Day, Labour lists 3 demands. Insist Workers' Day celebration won't hold in Rivers and Edo. Babio Atiku, governors, others hail workers' resilience. Court gives EFCC 24 hours to release Aisha Ashimugu. Akwa Ibom Governor Eno hints at defection. I can't be in faulty aircraft. Okay. North will decide 2027 president. ACF speaking with a rider there. Both regions' population big enough to guarantee victory. Lagos to host AFRIMA 2025. Governor Sanwo-Olu declares a state's readiness. That's the much coming from the Daily Sun newspapers.
And up next is the Daily Times newspaper for review this morning. And then we have alleged 1.3 trillion naira fraud. I'm not afraid of EFCC probe that's coming from the former governor and presidential aspirant to Atiku in the last election, Okowa. We have here May Day, PRP, Atiku, Akpabio hail Nigerian workers. Halt sale of Lafarge to Chinese investors, SEC urges federal government. That story you find on page 2. Zenith Bank delights shareholders with dividend payout of 195.67 billion, promises quantum leap in future dividends. And that's all we have for you on this.
It's not done. FG reaffirms.
Okay, FG reaffirms commitment to sustainable economic growth. That's all?
Okay, let's look at the stories we have here. You know, Akwa Ibom governor. He said he's not going to, he will not be left in a faulty aircraft. Maybe others have left him behind and moved on.
Probably he entered the plane knowing that the plane was faulty in the first place. The plane took you to a particular destination. All of a sudden, the plane has developed fault. Well, let our politicians think that they are fooling us, not knowing that they are fooling themselves. I think with this massive defection, it's now making us understand that the Muslim ticket, having not as your vice president, counts really for nothing. Sincerely speaking, that's what it's telling us right now. That even those that are leading us, thinking that their knees are on our neck, still know that we are valuable, still know that we are important. That's why you see all this massive defection and the rest of it all. But mind them, let them don't forget that those people that are moving cross-carpeting, they are only entitled to 1 vote. You're only entitled to 1 vote. Now, does the
vote count in the first place?
Yeah.
Does it really count?
Well, you ask me if it doesn't count, then why are they permutating?
Okay.
That's the next question to ask. Because eventually there will be, even if you want to rig, you rig with figures. But there's some establishment. We have the core PDP states in this country. We have the core APC states. But as it is right now, even the North is rumbling, which is even more of the core. In the last elections, how many of the states did APC actually win? Because of the big wig having Atiku and what is his name? Kwankwaso, their votes were split. And that was why we had that issue of none of the presidential aspirants hitting 25 across 2/3.
All right, and Anyoko, our own Anyoko, is not keeping silent on the issues of the nation. Now he's saying that the country risks disintegration. That's the warning. You know, yesterday he said something again, warning also of the imminent danger, you know, that will face the country if nothing is done urgently to ameliorate the plight of the citizens, especially the high rate of you know, cost of things. Every day you go to the market, you keep shouting, you know, things keeps going on. By the way, by this time last year, malt was being sold at 2,800 naira. Today is almost 12,000 naira.
So
Within a space of how many months?
Yeah,
Okay.
12 months, less than that. Now, talking about the disintegration and Anyoko is crying about and warning about, on paper, we are together as a nation, but off it, in physical terms, in reality, there's disintegration in every aspect of what binds a nation. Nothing like togetherness, you understand, as an entity in this area. But then the question there is, how did we get to this place?
To this
Simple.
level.
Loss of, as in, no respect to existing law. The people that are meant to uphold our law are with impunity, as in, neglecting everything that binds us as a nation. And when the leaders don't obey simple instructions, definitely this is what you have to see. Anarchy will now be the order of the day. And that's where we are tilting towards. Until we come and arrest this issue, especially in our political sphere, the INEC and then the legislative arm, the judiciary, they need to sit up to their responsibilities. Sincerely speaking.
I've always expressed my fear with the younger generations because they are seeing all that is going on. And when they start their own, when you teach somebody, the person will bypass you.
Of course,
that's the truth.
And do worse.
And I think that could be what Anyoko is seeing, that is shouting. But the shouting did not start today. Even I don't know whether Obasanjo is now weak to speak, because he's been shouting, he's been speaking over
we've gone past the era of speaking. The area where we are right now, the point at which we are right now is action, putting action on ground.
All right, look at North, their boast that they will decide the 2027 president. I don't know how sure they are they say both regions' population
because it
big
is
enough
obvious
to guarantee victory.
It is obvious to them that they are no longer being carried in this ship called Nigeria, and that is it. When you there are the good sides of this whole thing, and then there are the ugly bad side of it all. When you feel that you are the Don Dada, you're the Galadima, without you, nothing happens. Now, the North is seeing that nobody is talking about them. Most of the defection is going southwards. And now they are feeling that...
The thing there is that let's keep our fingers crossed and watch how things unfold. We are seeing a lot of defections, and the North, they are forming their own coalition. We pray, all our prayer is that to get a better nation tomorrow. Let's move on now to the next paper for review, which is the Punch newspaper. In front of the Punch, we have CBEX resumes operations despite SEC ban, 1.2 trillion naira EFCC probe. There's a rider there that promoters say promoters are of the opinion that audit is ongoing. NFIU flags EWC to for other Ponzi schemes. 3 judges suspended as NJC voids Imo acting CJ's appointment. Wike fires back at Atiku, to over zoning comment. Okay, May push. Labour demands wage review to ease cost of living. That's what's the cost of living crisis with the rider. And asked to address workers' concerns, Labour rejects a 70,000 naira pay over rising inflation. Others. Afrima 2025, we've seen that Lagos to host. UK speaks on Brighton arrested in Nigeria for arms deal. Tinubu, Obasanjo, Jonathan Atiku pay tribute to Adebanjo. All right, that's the much in front of the Punch.
The next paper for review this morning is coming from the stable of the Daily Independent, a newspaper. Citizens guards can't express themselves freely. NLC lament. AFC urges urgent action on security. Yeah. ACF urges urgent action on insecurity in the North. Enough of social science graduates, we need problem solvers. That's coming from the minister. Rivers, lawyers protest in Abuja seek Fubara's reinstatement. Khan urges national reconciliation, calls for mutual trust. Also, we have Lagos committed to development of creative industry, says Sanwo-Olu. And we have alleged 8.7 billion naira money laundering. Court orders EFCC to release Aisha Achimogu. Expert warns RMRDC bill will put thousands of jobs at risk. Appeal court upholds conviction of professor for electoral fraud. That's all we have for you on the Daily Independent newspaper.
All right. Now, where Minister is actually saying enough of social science graduates, we need problem solvers. I think I have something to say there. You know, I will always remember our governor's statement on the day of his swearing in, that you don't continue to do the same thing the same way and expect a different result.
Yeah.
It's, you know, high time curriculum, you know, changes, university education. When you look at Nigeria today, all you see is people, you know, scampering for certificate and not really getting to know what they are doing. The nitty-gritty of what they ought to do. So I think there is need to integrate skills in most of our universities, or you can actually create a program like Problem Solvers. You call it a name, and it becomes a course in the universities, whereby at the end of the day you can pick people there and put in positions where they're supposed to be. You know, most of our university graduates are roaming the streets looking for work. Some have gone into doing some other things, roadside things, to make ends meet, you know, just because of the way where they find themselves. So the minister that is saying this should rise to the challenge, you know, of trying to see how they can change some things to fit in, to be able to get what they want from these children.
Yeah, adding to that, I think the government too has a huge role to play, and a huge blame, apportioned blame on them, because they seem to have hands off education from the primary, from the nursery down to the tertiary institution, to let's say individuals to invest in. And when the government hands off, and then the same government is coming out to say that we need problem solvers, that means government is not intentional in building educational structure in Nigeria. Would you blame them? How many educated people do we even have in the corridor of power in this part of the world? So when what you produce is not even adequate, our graduates leave this part of the world, still undergo training in order to fit into the European and then the Asian standards of how things operate there. Some time ago, we had a discussion here in the studio. It had to do with education. And I asked, in Germany, education is based on, the curriculum rather, is based on some regions. If you know that this area has mineral deposits, fundamentally, you begin to teach geological sciences and everything, so that people will get to know that what they are working on top, there are treasures underneath it. We have different areas. We have the Bayelsa that should be championing fishery and aquaculture based on where they find themselves. Same thing with Lagos. But nobody's talking about that. You have the Edo, forestry, Ondo and the rest of it, forestry, zoology and the rest of it. So based on the diversity of Nigeria, our educational curriculum should be based on where you find yourself. If you're going to be going to school in Umudike and the rest of it, something relating to agric should be what you're studying.
And again, I learned there was a time in this country, this Nigeria, that they go to NYSC camps to pick students, you know, that are good in some areas and fix them.
It happened in my camp. It happened when I was in camp.
Okay.
So multinationals will come based on your grades, begin to pick the good ones.
Okay.
And then
what stops us from doing that? Because had it been what
redesigning
the curriculum?
That is the basic is redesigning that curriculum to fit.
That is one.
Yeah.
Then when you must have redesigned the curriculum, you have schools where problem solvers or people that
exactly
solve problems are handled and they
do you know that there are some courses in the next 15-20 years you no longer find people studying them in schools. I'm serious. You will no longer find people studying them in schools. Not because they are obsolete, not because they don't have anything to give, but because nobody is championing the cause of that. And that should be the job of what we are talking about here. Getting a curriculum that suits every region. It's as simple as that. Animal husbandry is a course in school. If you know that you want to be a cattle raider based on your nomadic nature, then you major in it and then you have all what it takes so that you stop seeing all these cattle and what is it called? Cattle headers, farmers clash and everything like that. These are what a government that is intentional needs to put on ground in order to imagine the burgeoning youth that we have here. You graduate and you are unemployable.
All right, I think Nigeria will work again. We believe so and we pray so.
But we need to make it work from the beginning too.
Let's look at this day newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of this day. Eno alludes to imminent defection, says the PDP will soon grind to a halt. The governor is still talking. We have a rider there, likens party to a faulty plane unfit to fly. Baraji, time to move on. Defection overflocked. Koshuedo assumes office as acting national secretary. Tinubu, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Atiku, Obi, Dangote, Adesina, others extol late Adebanjo. And we can see pictures in front of the This Day newspaper, where that's the funeral of late Pascal Dozier in Lagos. Okay, we see Trump's tariffs. US GDP shrinks to 0.3% from 2.4% in first quarter. Dow tumbles 400 points. We have a ride there. Trump blames Biden for weak economic growth. European markets cut losses, lose higher. Okay, that's the much. Okay, mass in honor of late Pascal Dozier. That took place in, I think, Ikoyi, Lagos. All right, that's just about it on This Day newspaper.
Next is the Nation newspaper for review this morning, and then we have the banner headline screaming, workers deserve commensurate reward for hard work, says government. And then the writer there says, we will make laws friendly to labor. NLC seeks opening up of civic space. NJC hammer falls on 3 judges, Justices Iyang Ekwo, Aliu, and on 1-year suspension. 27 other judges under investigation. Well, that's good to hear. We also have here Edun reforms driving long-term private sector-led growth. Well, we're yet to see the manifestation. Delta APC ready to receive Oboriwori and declares. IBAS retrieves government vehicles from suspended deputy governor. We also have bag charges on SMS alert go up to 50%. President should remain in South till 2031.
Okay, now the charges, I had it, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, that there are some banks that sent messages that there's increase in alert charges now, and I keep asking, some of the banks no longer pay interest on savings accounts these days. I don't know what actually is going on with our system. So I know that when you save for some time without touching the money, that every month you see your interest. I don't know whether we still have that running in our banks today. All we see is
withdrawals, irregular withdrawals, irregular.
Now they are talking about alerts on text messages that they send to you, and they send text messages, they send email. I think they should pick one. You can't be charging me on text message.
But I think
me on email and all what.
I think that has to do with what the customer himself or herself feels in that their form. And some people go for both options, you understand, email or text message. Well, it's just to make sure that you either, when network isn't available and then some transaction goes on your bank account, you definitely get to know about it either through email or what is it called, text message. Well, that is for your own security anyway, and that's good for me. But mine is the irregular, you understand, where they pilfer money from your account. You will just wake up and you see 2,000 naira deducted from you, and they'll tell you maintenance money. Within 3 weeks, you will see 1,500 naira deducted. I know what I'm talking about. In fact, I said I was going to walk into the bank and ask why this incident.
I think it's important, not just walking into.
You understand? What is the meaning of all this?
There are other means, you can even write on Twitter and attach a central bank, tag central bank, tag the bank. You will see them react immediately, even without going to the bank.
I don't understand this, sincerely speaking. Because you tell me maintaining account for what? That's your job to do. Do I put money in a piggy bank and I pay services to maintain the piggy bank? Honestly, is it by buying oil to oil the padlock I use in locking the piggy? Honestly, I don't understand what
a lot is going on in this nation.
These are the areas where we expect even the labor, today is Workers' Day, the labor to
look into.
To look into.
Okay. Now, Delta APC ready to receive Ibori. Oboroweri declares. And I saw in the other paper we read, the Daily Independent, the picture in front of the Daily Independent where Ibori was actually exchanging pleasant with Oboroweri that's the picture. They were exchanging, and it seems Ibori actually is saying something to the governor. That's at the burial of a former deputy governor in Warri, Delta State. I think Warri, yes, Delta State. That's where that took place over the weekend. Okay, that could be the. Who knows whether that's what is, telling the governor at that time. I think I want to join you in APC, and he's ready. He has come out to affirm that they are ready to receive him in APC.
Yeah, everybody can.
Okay, that's really not worry.
Yeah. Everybody can move to whichever party they want. Nigerians are getting wiser. Nigerians understand that.
Ibori has been lying low for some time.
He can't contest he can't be a governor again. Probably he'll be lobbying to be a minister or the rest of it. But do you know the long queue? That is what happens when you have everybody converge at a spot. How many slots will you get each state? Maximum 3 slots. So you now tell me that a former governor will now go and be permanent sec or be director or be DG in some organizations. It makes no sense. So when all this moving, what of the people that have been in APC before now? Let's say appointment wants to come in. They'll first of all put those people under consideration. Except you guys are just moving to have your file kept in the eyes.
I had a chat with a politician from Delta State, and I really felt sorry for some of the political appointees that are working with Governor Oboroweri, because after their trip to Abuja, definitely they are going to dissolve their cabinet, and they should be the APC members should come on board and what have you. And I was kind of trying to advise the person I spoke with. One, if you're a politician and you're getting those juicy, payment or juicy salaries, you can actually have something by the side that you use the money to fund and build, to be strong. So that, but adventure, anything happens like it has happened now, you can fall back. You see something to fall back on.
You're speaking based on the fact that you're a trained civil servant.
Really?
So you have that civil servant mentality. These guys are not trained that way. These are people that eat with both sides of their mouth. Okay. So you don't expect them to know that this thing someday will come to an end.
Will come to an end.
So I wonder why a former governor that spent 8 years as governor did a time in jail, and now when they're talking about people moving, his name will now be in the political space that he wants to join. To me, that is ridiculous.
All right, let's move to the Guardian newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of The Guardian. Agitations over cost of living crisis, workers' welfare on May Day. That's the stories they're coming from The Guardian newspaper. UBE Fund, Tinubu approves 5-year backlog for states. Pandemonium at Port Harcourt refinery as EFCC quizzes acting MD. Tinubu, Obasanjo, Anyoko, others pay tribute to Ayo Adebanjo at service of songs. Hassel MFB partners AFO's Foundation, Carbon Connect on Biocar Initiative. 2 million Nigerian children yet to be immunized, says UNICEF. Okay, Afrima, we've seen that. Ayeda Tiwa hinges development project on Tinubu's fiscal support for states. Customs seizes 921 billion naira sex enhancement drugs contraband. Akwa Ibom governors feels defection speculations, calls PDP spoiled plane on 2027 flight. You know, somebody actually said he should move. Enough of announcement of his movement. Did you see it in the other paper? You know, where somebody is actually saying that he needs to move. He should stop telling us that he wants to move and, you know, calling names to the party is in.
Yeah, the next paper for review is the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay.
And we have North Central Governors Mall joint security operations. Bank customers to pay 6 naira on every SIMS transaction alerts from today. Plateau traders lose 1 billion to midnight inferno. 2027, AFC gives conditions for not support. Would that be necessary? ACF, rather. We have May Day, 70,000 naira minimum wage, not enough. That's coming from workers. And also we have how swindlers pride on miracle seekers at Kanu Holy Site. 4 years after, police resume vehicles tinted glass permit issuance. Kidnappers chop off victims' hands, shun ransom. Wow.
And the picture in front of that Daily Trust is a very pathetic one. That's a market that was gutted by fire in Plateau State on Tuesday. Terrible.
1 billion lost.
All right. Let's move to the last paper, but not the least. This morning, the Nigerian Tribune. MacBan, MBF disagree over visit to U.S. ambassador. Appeal court upholds conviction of Professor Ogana for electoral fraud. Top Nigerian leaders set to host national political summit. Issues relating to constitutional democracy to be discussed. Anyoko to inaugurate Awolowo Dosum Tambuwal Daniel. Others as convening committee members today. Akwa Ibom governor speaks a parable. Okay, we've seen that before. Now, Afrima, Lagos ready to host Afrima. Sanwo-Olu declares. ACF says not too strategic to be ignored. Okay, that's the much we have. All right, let's talk about May Day, 70,000 naira minimum wage, not enough. That's coming from workers. Do they need to be told?
How many states are even paying the 70,000 to start with?
Do they need to be told that things are getting out of hand?
We all know how we arrived at 70,000 from 600,000 to projected 250. They now said, okay, 150 was the lowest we can bargain for. Only for us to wake up and then, you know, see 70,000 naira. And then the 70,000 naira came with humongous, what would I say, baggages. 70,000 gave birth to the tariff, increase in tariff in electricity, increase in tariff in telecom. Now banks are coming with theirs. So to me, it's like we are back to square one.
I don't know.
It's like we're even worse off.
If only our leaders would be, you know, truthful to the Nigerian state. Let me put it that way, not just individuals. It will be truthful to the Nigerian state, because I believe that when a worker is paid well, is well taken care of, you know, the worker can do everything. I had a boss back then in ABS. The man said if they can add 10,000 naira to my salary, that if they ask me to be sleeping in ABS every day, I will do that. What does that mean? That means that when you are paid well, you know, you can put in your best. you know, I think development will increase when when we treat workers well. And of course, your governance will not be that difficult for you because everything will fall in place. I think our time is fast spent, this is where we're wrapping up on the press review for this morning. We thank you so much for watching and urge you to sit tight because we have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra Show.
May Day is just beginning. We just have the first segment that we just saw the end of. The next segment is when we're going to be having the NLC apparatus. Let them come and actually tell us if 70,000 naira was what they bargained. And the rest of it. Don't go anywhere. The show is just getting interesting.
All right.